project for today is removal of this pretty old and inefficient fire really, and replacing it with a nice new modern Clearveiw Vision 500. I'm going to put it on a stand as well just to make it look really nice in this quite large ingle nook. And we've got liners already in place, register plates all in place with a hatch there for decent access to the new connection, and just basically an upgrade for one of my customers. So here we've got the new stove, the Clearveiw Vision 500 with brass fittings, and it's on legs at the moment, but what we've got to fit on this one is a plinth. So I've got a 300mm log stand here, or a plinth, and we're going to take the legs off the stove and then mount this stove on the plinth, and that'll look really nice in a large ingle nook. I've got the room prepped and let's see what we're looking at. So we've got some cast iron pipe, quite a long piece, goodness me, going right up to the liner connection. Now the liner isn't insulated, so it'd be nice if it was insulated, but I'm going to have to deal with what we got here at the moment. Okay, now fit the plinth. Plinth on, let's get it into the other room and get it all lined up for fitting. Right, stove's in position, and now I'm going to do a mock-up for the customer so that they can see what the stove would be like in a couple of different positions. Now, we've got a good amount of hearth finishes here. So we've got a 2 foot of hearth at the moment, so I could have the option of bringing the stove forward and then coming off the back. I can do that in this instance because the chimney's lined. You can't always do that, come off the back of the stove when the chimney's not lined. There might not be enough draw, because it does take a little bit more draw on a rear flue access. You're going to get more heat off the stove if it comes off the back, because the heat has to travel around the back of the stove before it exits out into the flue. So here's the rear flue exit components. Got a T-section with a bung, and then your sweeping rod access. There you go. So Jenny and Den's decided on having the flue coming off the back, which is a great choice, I think. There's still loads of hearth there, so that's the advantage of having all that hearth, and it's going to give more heat. The other benefit is you've got options in there of putting the kettle on top of the stove, so heating some hot water. So lovely. Just got to trim off the swage so that it fits nicely inside, snug inside the flue collar. Put a clamp on the joints and connect the rest of the flue pipe up, give it a paint. Air vent's fitted around the side here. It's over 5 kilowatts, it requires an air vent. And also got to fit the carbon monoxide alarm. That's a 30mm rope there, just to fill the extra gap that's here. I've now made another rope seal. And again, just by cutting the ends of the rope, putting some wire in between, and then with the tape, I'm going to join that around, and then that'll go near the top. I'm going to use all the proper locking bands. I like to. It's going to give it a nice finished look. Although these are quite expensive, too expensive really, but that's why you often don't see them being used. But it's going to make it all look nice. Okay, nice snug fit there. Got to be careful here. I've cut off a couple of about 10mm of the collar, so it fits nicely into the low collar of the Clearveiw stove. Right, okay, finally put the T-section on. These little bands do finish it off really nicely. And then finally, when I've got the stove levelled and everything looking straight, then I'll finally drill down through the collar into the flue pipes to secure that in place. And so all the components together now, and it's all secure, all airtight, everything's now fixed together. Time to give the mask up the wall and give the flue pipe a paint. So there we go, nice Clearview Vision 500 installed, and now we're just going to go through the lighting processes with Dan and Jen, and let's fire it up and see how well it performs. I'm just going to demonstrate how airtight this stove is. So I've just got some newspaper in there. Alright, so this is basically how airtight it can be if you shut this down too much. I've marked it there for you, but we've just got newspaper here. Now if I do shut the controls down completely, this is what happens. See all the condensation immediately building up over here, and then that's, if you shut that down too much, that's what's going to blacken your glass.
Yeah, that's what blackens it.
Yeah, that's right. So that's actually
put it out.
Put the newspaper out. Okay, that's how control.
And it's clever.
Alright, so that is very, very airtight. Okay, so we'll just open it up again and let that clear. Really, it's condensation at the moment because it's the first time we've lit the stove. Okay, so there you go. It actually is that airtight. You put out the paper. Right, so let's fuel it up and then warm it up and start it up. There you go. That's the full install there. And finally, we're just going to remove the fire basket because that's far too close there.
That's it. That's right.
Alright,
Yeah,
so
like that.
that's it. So that's a safe installation now, and you can carry on enjoying the stove. So here we are, it's now 2016, 4 years later, and the stove here is looking really nice still. I've just come to sweep the chimney today, and I just thought I'd show you the components and how they've all settled in and how nice they still look. They look after the stove really well. You can see here inside the firebox. The rear brick I didn't show you, but I always cut them in half. It just allows for extra expansion and saves the brick cracking anyway. It's looking nice and dry inside the stove. The ropes are looking good. So let's take a look above the baffle. Again, you can see here it's lovely and dry. You've got that white sort of fly ash in there around. No shiny deposits there. So now I'm going to sweep the chimney. And now, following the sweeping, just take a look at the soot here. And yes, you can see, oh, that's lovely. You can see this lovely, nice, dry consistency. And even though the chimney flue wasn't insulated, the stove is still performing really well. So hopefully this will help you in choosing your Clearview stove. And thanks again for watching.